cutter, he had in fact two options. One option, we call it production. In English, they use often just the letter P for production, and this is the left part of this table here, production. This is when he cuts the wood. However, from time to time, he has to maintain the tool which is cutting the wood. And in that column here, usually in the United States, they use PC. This is not personal computer. This is production capability. Maintain the tool that cuts the wood. Whenever you have a question, please interrupt. The more you interrupt me, the more happy I am. The more questions you make, the more happy I am. So interrupt me and ask me all the time. It's going to be a little bit mess, but this is a very good mess. Okay? No discipline today. No discipline. So, let's see a little bit, some more, no, use this. The production of the wood cutter is to cut the trees, to cut it in pieces. Because by cutting the wood in pieces, he's able to pull the wood in the factory, cut it with a big machine, and make wood used to make furniture. So this was his work. But he had from time to time to maintain the tools. So let's return to our reality, because we live in another world. Myself, I work as a project manager. All of you are IT project managers? No exception? Most of you. Most of you. So, the question is, on which area am I supposed to work on me, on myself, in order to become more effective? I remember a person, he said, I cannot sharpen my teeth. This is my teeth in order to eat, to maintain the teeth, but we have many other tools. We have languages, we have information technology, knowledge, we have communication skills, leadership skills, management skills, customer service skills, sales skills, negotiation skills, time management skills, stress management skills. God knows how many others I am forgetting now. So we have many things to improve, to repair, to add on, upgrade, all the time. These are words I'm sure you understand because it's part of your job. Not machines, not hardware, not software. Human beings. To upgrade human beings. Are you interested to learn more about upgrading yourself? I love this. Also, Allah loves this. And do you remember the name Henry Ford? He said, the man or the woman who learns and learns all the time, he never or she never gets old. I don't want to get old. I want to stay as you are, young, by learning all the time new things. And also, another question is, how can I forecast for the future what is needed for me in order to improve myself indefinitely? I want every day to make a small improvement on me. So I have here a little schedule. Maybe it's not very accurate. When I meet with my team, many people, they say this is production. And when I schedule plans, also can be a production. When I interview candidates to get in my team, can be also production, controlling the cost, and many, many other things which are here. You know, some things cannot go with one sense left or right in this table. By discussion sometimes we see that it's mostly left or mostly right. However, there are things that are long-term improvements, like I make long-term plans, as we mentioned here. I train myself, I attend a conference, I read a book, and I continue my studies, I complete my studies. All these are improvements on myself, also on my people, because it's not only necessary to improve myself, I have also to improve the people who work with me. Let's see the things which we mentioned before. We mentioned about knowledge. In the country from which I come, although I was born in Africa, in Egypt, in Greece, people believe very much in the knowledge. If you have knowledge, you have everything. Is it causing any problem this to you? If you don't see, I think it does. Why you don't tell me something? Speak to me, please. So, knowledge, they say, is everything. Okay, some other people, they are a little bit more smart. They say, no knowledge. Knowledge is good, but skill is even more important. Okay, but why some people having both of them very strong, they have excellent performance and others have less? If you want me to make it simple, the ones who usually have excellent performance, they have one characteristic common, but it's not the only one. They have no fear. I made a seminar in a big company which is on the MCAT. 3 months I was working with a big company that has 2,500 people. I trained the 40 middle managers of the company. And once I trained all the marketing department, I think 17 people, and I asked Dimitri, their director, to come in to help me and participate in the training. I destroyed the training that day. It was a Friday. And only Dimitri and Stamos were speaking. Nobody else. The 17 people were nothing. You couldn't hear anything. So Dimitri understood the damage and he disappeared at the end of the day. The next day, Saturday, we had a continuation of the seminar. And at about 11 o'clock, I mean, we started at 9 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, people were perfect. I said, one moment, boys and girls. Why you are performing so well now, and yesterday on Friday, you had no performance, nobody was participating? They said, Stamos, make questions and we will answer to you by yes or no. I said some silly questions, and then I said, are you scared of Dmitri? They said, yes. Okay, I will make another question to you. If the big boss, the general director, Eldar, comes in, what will happen? They said, when the boss is in, we don't speak. When the boss of the boss is in, we don't even breathe. Until I die, I will remember this because I was shocked. I thought that in the Mediterranean countries like Italy, Greece, France, and also Germany, fear is up beyond limits. I mean, it's huge. But in Moscow, I found a lot of fear. Not in all countries, all companies though. I found companies where people have excellent relationships. So when we are speaking about the third side, which is the internal attitude, it is demonstrated by our behavior. Let me ask you a little simple question. I don't speak well Russian. I speak very little. If you tell me, Stamos, continue in Russian, can I pretend that I speak Russian without knowing Russian? Is it possible? No. No. The opposite, is it possible? I know Russian, but I can pretend that I don't speak Russian. It is. So, if you don't have a skill or an internal attitude, you cannot pretend that you have it. If you have it, you can pretend that you don't have it. For example, maybe I have courage, but maybe I can present to you that I'm shaking because I'm scared. Okay, if I'm a good actor, I can, but the opposite, I cannot. That's why the internal attitude is extremely important. Let me present you with this, how we call this? Iceberg. This is how important is the knowledge. It is important. I never said it's not important. Because you know the knowledge, but also the skill, they give to us self-confidence, which is this area. How can I have self-confidence without having knowledge and without having the capability to apply the knowledge? So these are extremely important elements for the performance of people. As of age 2.5, 1.5, from very little babies, I'm going to extend on this later. And what are these secondary skills? And what are the generators? Sorry, not skills, internal attitudes. This must be courage, and the next one is the next one is enthusiasm, and this is a great one. Is it enthusiasm? Yes, it is. Optimism is the third one, and positive attitude the next one, and patience. Patience must be terpenia. Is that right? And persistence and decisiveness and perfectionism, which is interest for quality. We are speaking about quality, kачество, every day, but how people can produce quality. Some people, they have the talent, They come from their home and they want everything organized, perfect, on time, within budget, etc. They come from home like this as children. Usually the mother is the leader in these things. We will come on this later on. Who creates these things and what are the generators? There are two generators. The generators are the self-confidence. What is the self-confidence? This is the most important thing of the whole speech today. Self-confidence is a little feeling and an opinion that I have about my capabilities. Let me tell you how it is produced inside our heart and in our mind. I don't tell you that we should speak as I'm going to speak now. We should feel like this and think, but not speak, never speak. So, self-confidence. Guys, my name is Stamos. And I tell you, I'm able to do extremely difficult things. Sorry for my shouting. I just shout like this to tell you and demonstrate to you what is the feeling of self-confidence. The man or the woman or even the child that has self-confidence has no fear. He or she can face anything, anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances. And it's interesting that some children, they are fearless. That's why they have accidents and so things like this. What is important, it's also the second characteristic, the second generator of internal attitude, which is self-esteem, self-appreciation. And self-esteem is that I have a very good opinion about myself. Let me again demonstrate as a dialogue with myself, how is this feeling? I believe that me, myself, Stamos, I am a very good person. I know how good I am. And I know that I enjoy the appreciation of hundreds or maybe thousands of people whom I know, my customers, my students in the seminars, and so on and so forth. When we feel this, we don't need to say again, I tell you, we should never speak like this. We should think and feel. So, this is my opinion about how strong I am. And this is my opinion about my integrity. How do you say integrity in Russian? So, if we have these two foundations, on them are sitting all these positive characteristics that we can have. We are going to make sort of a small exercise, but before that, please, go ahead. Хорошо.
Вот там написано была самооценка, это мнение о своей порядочности.
Self-esteem is the opinion about one's own integrity. That's what it is.
Yes, yes.
Как вы, нет ли противоречия вообще вот бизнес и порядочность?
But is there a conflict between the business and this integrity?
Help me to understand why. Почему?
Это не мое личное мнение, но как бы жизненный опыт.
This is a
Потому
question.
что бизнес это fighting.
Because business is
Why?
fighting.
Who can answer, please? Win-win.
Сейчас посмотрим.
Yes. This is the win-win situation when both sides win. Some people need help to understand this. It's not easily understood.
It's collaboration.
Yes, competition, yes. Yes.
They're very strong.
Okay, but the strong competition needs this. For example, all my friends in Greece, they say, you went to Moscow? Are you crazy? They're going to eat you alive, the Russians. I said, no, the Russians are good boys and good girls. I love them all. I have thousands of friends. Really? Yes, really. And I'm not exaggerating, it's true. I do believe this, and I'm sure that you are very good people. Or if you want me to put it more precisely, the very good people in your country, at least the people I met, it is a higher percentage that they are in Turkey, in Greece, in Italy, in France. I take these countries, which I know very well.
Греки тоже хорошие.
Okay, let's let's go further. We have a lot of work to do today.
Can I also ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Where is, in your opinion, borderline between being self-confident and being selfish, for example?
Very good question. Very good question. My wife is asking me this nearly every week. So, self-confidence means I know what are my limits. The arrogance and the egoism and the selfishness is when we exceed this limit and we don't want to know where are our limits, what am I able to achieve. If I believe that I'm able to achieve 5 times more, sometimes I exceed the limits and maybe I crash my nose somewhere. Let's take it in a car, because all my career was with cars. If I think that I make this turn in cut, let's say, with 280 kilometers an hour, maybe I have an accident, but if I go 180, it's quite fast, and I am quite safe. So I have to know the limits and respect the limits of everything. For example, some time ago, we tried to start a computer. We exceeded the limits of this computer. Maybe my presentation is heavy because it has a lot of graphics and requires a lot of RAM memory. Maybe, I said, I don't know. That's why I said I love quick computers. Fast. So, we are supposed to be here. I'm going to tell you a little story now. This is one of the exercises. The story is the following. Your company, suppose, is producing a new product or a new service, and you see a strong opportunity of selling this new product or service in Italy. And you put advertisements in the newspapers in Moscow in order to find a man or a woman who speaks Italian, and he or she knows the product, and is able to go to Italy and sell. And you interview many people, and many speak Italian, but they have no idea about the product. You know some people who know about the product. They are not able to learn Italian. So after some days, a woman 38 to 40 years old comes to you and says, I do speak Italian, but not very well. I have studied in France, I worked in France, I know perfectly the product, and I am committed to spend 60 to maximum 90 days, every day 1.5 hours of Italian lessons in order to improve my Italian, be able and sell and negotiate in Italian language. I will pay from my salary these lessons. I don't want you to pay. What I want you is to employ me. Please take me into your company. I want this job. I commit myself to be able to speak Italian in 60 days. I do speak, but not well. In 60 days, I'm going to be adequate. You know what it means, adequate? Good enough. Yes. Would you employ this lady?
Yes.
But she has some weaknesses. For example, the first thing she has is she doesn't have the knowledge of the Italian language. She does not speak Italian, but also she doesn't have the skill. So she doesn't have the vocabulary, and she doesn't have the skill of speaking Italian. How can you employ? Is this a kind of a risk? What do you think?
Because self-confidence.
Self-motivation.
She wants and she's self-motivated. You said the right thing. So in a sort of answer, we say, as far as knowledge is minus. As far as skill of speaking the language, she is minus. However, there is a plus somewhere. That's why you would employ this woman, because she has the internal attitude. Please.
Она может переоценивать свои силы,
But
а
you
мы этого не
can
знаем.
overestimate good shock
Но мы этого не знаем.
but we don't know about
Yes,
it.
there is a risk. There is a risk, sure. But let's analyze what we liked on this woman. The first thing is courage, okay? Let me keep also my English text here. The second thing that we liked on this lady is the enthusiasm. On these two, I think she takes a plus. The third that takes also plus is optimism. However, the positive attitude we expect to see in the future. We don't know yet. Maybe yes, maybe no. And also the patience, we are not sure. But as far as the persistence, because she's determined to learn Italian, we put a plus. And also in the decisiveness, which she took a decision. From tonight, to start making lessons. But as far as the perfectionist is too early to decide. So she has some plus, 5 pluses, and of course this list can go down 2 floors, you know. I have only a little sample here. There are so many things, characteristics of the person that can develop in order to be more effective. So we tend to trust people who have a healthy internal attitude. This is a little conclusion, but I would like to tell you that now we have these 3 dimensions.
Can I ask a question?
As many as you want.
All these points are based on her self-estimate, and her self-estimate is actually quite subjective. So it doesn't present maybe an objective picture of what she is.
I would prefer that somebody would answer this question. I want to thank you for the question. I expect this kind of question because it's very logical what you said. It's in my logic also. That's why I mentioned about taking a risk. So who would like to answer this question? She believes she is able. This is what you want to say. What are we going to do?
I think we shall interview her more to understand how deep are her self-esteem, how deep her soft skills. And if we understand that clearly, we take the decision and we take the risk.
Right.
It's our risk, of course.
But we monitor and we watch the person while she works. I want to tell you that when we employ a person, always we take a risk. Always we take some risk. You should not shoot yourself and say, "Ya durak," when you employ a person and the person is not good. Right?
Если это мероприятие очень важное, то, возможно, лучше взять менее перспективного.
But if the project is very important, it is better to take not that promising person.
Но пусть хуже, но который будет удовлетворять именно этим.
Probably worse, but who will meet this very requirement.
We haven't found in the market. We mentioned this. If we would find a person that is perfect, we would have employed.
Тогда думать нечего.
Then no second thoughts.
Okay, спасибо. So let's come to a conclusion because we are finishing the subject. Okay, we have later on this conclusion. So we have completed 1/3 of our program today, and I want to ask you if you have any question on this, because we come to another program, another subject which is related but not exactly the same. Any question? Вопросы? Нет вопросов. Okay. So let's see the next issue. If in the meantime you think of something, please speak. We judge people. If you see me, I mentioned before that I use a small and old car in Moscow. If you see me entering to a Rolls Royce waiting out of the hotel when we finish, what would you say about Stamos? Wow, that guy's driving a Rolls Royce and he has a driver with a hat? My goodness, I could never imagine he's so rich. I don't drive, an Opel Corsa I do drive. But why we judge people about the belongings? The big house, the swimming pool, the golden Rolex, the Rolls Royce and things like this. Why?
Because we ourselves focus on that and we compare them to ourselves.
Yes. Who speaks a little bit German of you? Little bit German? The Germans say, Geld spielt keine Rolex. Money play no role, but instead of saying Role, they say Rolex, which means that if you have a Rolex, the money play a role. It is turning around the same sentence. So, let's go a little bit. When we see a person, we see the outside shell of the person. We see a man or a woman, and we see what we can see with the eyes. This is the area of I have. You have seen this face here for the first time in your life, right? The first time, today. You didn't know me from yesterday. So, sometimes you see a person, who is this guy? Is he a Mexican? No, he's Greek. He's Greek. And then, we start discovering the person. We go to the intermediate shell, which is the area of I do. I started trying to help the man with a computer. I have presented Ala and I said that she loves this subject. And we started talking also some introduction about today's presentation. So you have seen this man acting. This is the area of I do something. Maybe I would not do a presentation, I would do management, leadership, selling, negotiations, and other things, stress management or crisis management or whatever. You see, look, he's handling the crisis perfectly, very well. We trust this person because, look, we are in a crisis and he's holding the steering of the company and we go well. So people are judged either of what they have or what they do, but when we know a little bit more the people, then we enter to the core. There is no more internal area of the area of I am. The I am is the area that contains all the characteristics. In Russian, I think we say, "Я engineer," right? I am engineer. I am an engineer, in fact, but I don't care about it because you see what I'm doing. So, some people, they try to understand what are the characteristics that can make a person to do very difficult things correctly and then have excellent results. And these things we are going to discover by making a comparison. Yes, I'm going to make a little exercise. Who has at home a little girl about 6 years old around? Yes? What is her name? Dominica. So suppose that Dominica today is the first name she receives divisions, to make divisions at school. And we check the divisions of the girl and all 10 of them are wrong. So we have 3 different approaches to explain to Dominica the situation. Dominica, all divisions are wrong. So we don't speak about Dominica, we speak about the divisions. If you want me to make it as a picture, we have a gun and we shoot the division. The divisions, not the girl. So the second is, you have done wrongly the divisions. So you're a good person, very smart, very clever, very capable, but in this case, you use the wrong system, the wrong approach, the wrong process in order to make the divisions. Let me explain you how to do it correctly. And there is a third approach. You are unable to do at least one division. All of them are wrong. What hurts more, Dominica?
The last one.
Let's ask the father. Is it true that the last one is the most hurting? What do you say? Why the last one hurts more? Congratulations. You gave the perfect answer. Not a correct, the perfect answer. So, we can shoot the divisions, we can shoot the process, but we shoot, in this case, the girl, the soul of the girl. I read in a book years ago that when we use the verb you are, and we put a negative characteristic at the end, we make the biggest damage to children and adults as well. So one girl, when everybody used to say that you are unable to make one correct division, she said, when my mother gave birth of me, because the whole process of giving the birth was long, they have put a vacuum system here and they took my head out of the body of my mother, and I've seen photographs and my head had like a neck here, it was a little bit deformated. So I am sure they have destroyed my center of divisions in my brain. I can feel the gap here, there is a vacuum in my mind, because I'm unable to make divisions. Maybe when I am 80 years old, I will walk like this on an old woman and I will not be able to make division, because I am unable. My mother said, my father said, my grandmother, my teacher, they are grown up, they know these people. They are not like me. I'm only 6. You see the damage, how we do? Let's shoot the shell, not the soul. The same is true with adults. Don't use you are, okay? In Russian, tu. Please.
Ну, вы можете больше мотивировать человека, например, если вы скажете, что вы не способны, да, то вы можете больше мотивировать.
He says that if you say you are not able, he will motivate you to
Demotivate.
motivate.
Motivate.
He will prove otherwise.
Some people, the strong people.
Это только сильные,
Yes.
только сильные.
You are right. You are right. Absolutely right.
Что вы можете сказать, что зависит от ядро становится в детстве родителями.
So the core, the nucleus, is established by the parents in the child.
Потом оно очень сложно поддается модификации.
And then it is modified with great difficulty later.
Well, in some people it's very difficult to be. It's later on. In this, we are going to deal with this in 10 minutes approximately. Okay, let's go a little bit further. You remember knowledge, skill, okay, and internal attitude, and the three cycles which are here. We want to correspond each one of these sides with each one of these cycles. Which side with which cycle would you associate? Please.
Knowledge is what I have.
Yes. First is correct. Navigate skills.
Skills is what I thought.
Yes.
And
Very good.
You are wrong.
So, the what I am is this area here. Not my MBA and my university and my languages or anything. It is my internal attitude. This is what I am. And there is a reason why. Okay, this proves that you are right. So, who creates the internal attitude? 85% of the internal attitude is created by 4 ladies, usually, in the traditional families. And the 65%, it is created until the age of 3.5 years old. And this is created by 2 very important people, mother and the mother of the mother, babushka. By the way, I am detushka myself. And another 20% it is created by the first years of school. I mean the kindergarten and the 3 first years in the elementary school.
Папа,
Don't agree.
father
What
is not
about
Father? Who is the father? I try to see the father, he's in the work, he's working hard. The father.
В этом случае он становится мамой.
There are
Babushka.
2 grandmothers, the mother of the
The father.
father and the mother of the mother.
Yes, the 2 grandmothers. 2 grandmothers. Yes, sure. And I'm happy to say that I discover with people I work with that grandmothers, they take care of their grandchildren, in Moscow at least, but I think in the whole Russia, you have this very good tradition. It's very important what you do. And I'm happy to discover this. Okay, the rest, 55%, it is created until the age of 17, and of course the father, after the age of 10, is more involved because the child is older, bigger, and can help and work and throw the garbage, and he or she is doing certain things in the family. So, the question that some people ask, what is the role of the television, televisor? What is the role? Huge.
Depends on the time of watching television.
Yes. And the channel.
It's a terrible
It makes a big good and a huge bad. So let me suppose that your daughter or another little child, 3-4 years old, is watching TV now, and they see the Israelis killing the children of Palestinians on the TV, or an airplane crash, or a bomb in the metro, or a train accident. Blood, killed people, crying people. The child thinks that this is the life. When I grow up and become a woman, this kind of life I'm going to have. When I grow up and become a man, this is what I'm going to face every day in my life. We have to help the child to make a correct interpretation of what he or she sees on the TV. Let me tell you what the media people say. If a donkey bites a man, this is not news. If a man bites a donkey, well, this is news. As you understand, all the anomalies are news. Donkeys.
Assume.
Yes. This is not news if the donkey bites a man. If a man bites a donkey, this is news. So we have to explain to the child that every Saturday and Sunday, millions of Russian families, they go in the parks for a picnic. They cook the meat, they have the wine, and they listen to the music. They enjoy a beautiful life. This is the reality and not the news. The news is 1% of what it happens, only the bad things that happen. Accidents, killings, and things like this. Who has any questions so far?
How can you prove this?
How can we?
Can you prove these statements regarding 65% and 20% and 15%?
This is not my observation.
Yeah.
This is from a research that 20 years ago, this is 17, it was 18. And only 15 or 20 years ago, they made it 17 because they tried to measure, and they have a system to measure how the internal attitude is created in an average family. Because there are families that there is no mother, the mother died or the mother left. You understand?
Exactly my question. Where can I find a source of this research?
I will try to, and if at the end you can give me your email, but I cannot guarantee that I can find it in 1 week. Maybe I need some time. I need your email. Okay? You said something, please.
А вы сами, ну, вы согласны с этими?
Do you agree with these
Сколько
findings?
вы вот согласны?
In an average family in the Mediterranean area is very close to reality.
Я знаком с работой психолога Эрика Берна.
You know,
Eric Bern. Very good.
У него немного другое смещение, там
Is a
формирование характера
different
идет,
shift.
с 2 до 6 лет практически весь характер
So the
формируется.
whole character is formed during the five or 6 years. The first 5 or 6
И
years.
роль
It is
отца
within.
и
And the
матери
role of
Тут
the
характер и
father
внутренние
is
отношения это другое. Немножко разное.
Eric Bern, I remember, he said that the basic orientation in life comes until the age of 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure if it is the core. I have to think a little bit. It's different. It's different thing. These are the internal attitude. It's not the orientation about the life, but there is a relationship. There is a relationship, especially in the area of fear, strach, because strach determines very much the kind of life we live. Imagine a man without fear and a man with fear. The man with fear will tell him, take this job. No, it's very difficult for me. And he's losing opportunities, many opportunities in life. You see, it's very important to know how strong we are in order to apply for the right job. You had the question?
Yeah.
You still remember?
Yeah. It is stated here that internal attitude doesn't change after a person reaches 17 years. Are you
It's
sure
in the
about
next
this?
slides, this. But I can give you the answer now.
If something like if something changes in his life, for example, service in the army, some events in his personal life, something great
Very
happens,
strong.
it can change the person.
Yes, you are absolutely right. But few people manage to do that, and nearly nobody can manage it if the life is flat. He works in a bank, in the same building, in the same seat, doing the same things with the same people, etc., etc. It's difficult to change if he has not begun here changing. Otherwise, okay, army, an accident, cancer, divorce, and things like this.
So suppose I have a specialist in my unit, and he has great knowledge and great skills, but he has too weak
Internal attitude.
internal attitude. Yes, I have nothing to do with that. Or maybe I can send him on some courses, trainings, and so on, and
Yes, it's the next slide, in fact. But let me tell you what happens. You tell him, Stamos, you are very strong. Go to this customer and fix that problem. No, this customer is very ugly. I cannot go, I'm scared. You go. No, you can.
I can say him go.
Yes, and he doesn't. He's scared. He doesn't want to go.